Hello, my name is Greg Lane with Strategic Leaders. I want to take just a moment to speak about culture and strategy and the irony in putting those two together in a sentence. Likely those of you watching this video are enlightened the difficulty in aligning those two. And let's take a moment to quickly discuss why that's important, what that can mean in terms of profitability, and then a practical way to align those. So let's begin by looking at strategy, which one could say is very logical. We're looking forward, maybe 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, and of course we're market focused. That versus the culture, which is very emotional, it's historic, and it's people focused. So those two do not necessarily gel well together. Now, we must take into account in any sort of change strategy, we need to consider something that I call the other guy syndrome. What I mean by the other guy syndrome is you generally have a person that believes their traits and behaviors have made them the person they are, the success they are, and they're looking over at the other guy believing they need to change some traits or behaviors. The other guy, of course, is in the same boat, believing that their traits or behaviors are ideal and looking over their shoulder at the other guy, and so on and so forth. So we always need a method in a non-biased way to view our own traits and behaviors and compare those to the desired ones in reaching our strategic objectives. Now let's look a little of what the data shows at the influence this can have on a company. Large surveys in 2012 demonstrated that highly engaged companies had almost 3 times the operating margin of low engaged companies. Looking at some data in another way, 66 to 90% of the CEOs surveyed, taken in different surveys, admitted that the process improvements their organizations had put in place were not sustained over a number of years. So I want to talk briefly about a methodology that I've proven over a number of years experimenting in companies, and it's just come out in a new book I put together called Culturally on Plan. So let's talk for a moment. First, the CEO does not control the organization's culture and really only has a strong influence in 2 out of the 5 behavioral types that make up the total culture of the organization. But in a methodology to change culture, what we first have to look at is to ensure the strategic objectives are properly deployed. And that proper deployment involves engagement in the organization, involves understanding why we need those objectives, links to the market, only 5 to 6 key objectives at a maximum, not a wish list of 20 to 30, but deployment is the key. So this methodology first looks at making sure they're properly deployed. This can be used strategic deployment methods, policy deployment, Hoshin-Conry. Secondly, you almost have to start in this case with the future state of really what are the desired traits you need now to reach those strategic objectives. So in this case, we're going to take the strategic objectives and value stream by value stream determine what behaviors, traits, habits we really need to meet those strategic objectives. Then we need a way to create awareness of our current traits. So now really in step 2, we're talking about future state. Step 3, we're talking about the current state. So we need a way in a non-biased fashion to do this, and there are plenty of ways available. Ways we can do this very privately, feedback analysis. There's all kinds of personality surveys that can be taken that help in a non-biased way show where we fall in a lot of these traits that we might need. Once that awareness is created, where it's feasible, we need to look at how we can alter those traits. And there's plenty of ways out there to do that. The lean community offers plenty, but there's also plenty of very simplified ways. I'd like to encourage you to read this book that has been developed over a number of years, working in a number of organizations, called Culturally on Plan. It can, of course, be purchased on Amazon and through normal channels, but at the link above at CreateSpace, with the discount code, it can be purchased for approximately $20. At this moment, I ask you not to take my word for it, but let's look at what others have said. Whirlpool, Comments about the book gives the reader a solid approach to move forward. Lazy Boy, it jumps to the level of changing behaviors. Northrop Grumman, it's a book to be used. Slumberjay, it is an indictment on how methodical and subtle awareness of an individual's culture can facilitate profitable strategic alignment. And finally, it doesn't matter whether you're manufacturing or service. If you want to do better, this can help. Everyone needs to align their culture. Thank you.